To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. So yesterday I was telling you that I had to move all this sycamore onto the porch. Certainly doesn't look as impressive sitting here on the porch as it did in the wood pile. But we got to thinking about it. If we can just burn one log every 8 hours, which is what I think we can do, I don't know, we're looking at 2 or 3 weeks here of firewood in October. Now, of course, October, this is going to be perfect. Sycamore doesn't have as many BTUs as oak. One log every 8 hours, even 4 hours. Let's say it's 4 hours and I'm wrong. I mean, last year we had a leaky seal and I didn't know it until afterwards. The door latch on the wood stove was loose. And I thought I was going to have to replace the seal, so I was going to wait till the summer to do it. Turned out it was a loose door latch. So I fixed that. So we should do really well this year at 4 to 8 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, somewhere like that. Imagine that, just a little pile like this that sits on the porch, 2 or 3 weeks. That'll get us through October easily. So I've been worried a lot this year that nobody was giving away free firewood. And I know that sounds selfish, but last year, man, it seemed like every day somebody was giving away free firewood. And this year they just didn't do it. So I was really thinking, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to really start digging into our property and cutting down trees. Now, I've told you in the past, we got a tree here that I wanna cut down. There's 3 of them over there on my neighbor's property that he said I could have. So I was really working on that plan. I'm gonna get those probably this winter. That's my goal, we'll see. I had high hopes that people would give away firewood. No expectation, but high hopes. It just didn't happen this year. Well, all of a sudden, August hits, and everybody's cutting down their trees, giving away free firewood. We got a full cord in the last week of firewood. That's a year's worth of firewood. Of course, I got to get it split and everything, so that needs to be split. I got to get that stacked. I'm going to take you on the other side so you can see the firewood. It's just a mound of wood that I got to get split and stacked. So, man, it's great how well all of a sudden we're getting firewood. So back here, you can see the scope of the firewood that we got. So that's 2/3 of a cord, plus what's on the other side, that's a full cord. And it hit all of a sudden. Well, got another advertisement from that free stuff app I've been telling you about. And I hear that people don't like that app because it just gives you lots and lots of useless information. It really does. But if you're just patient with it, free firewood shows up. Every day I get tens and tens of, maybe even hundreds of little free things, you know, stuff that I have no use for, but I stay diligent. To me, it's worth the effort and then the aggravation of constantly getting these notifications on my phone telling me useless information, when most everything that you see here, all 3 piles, all 3 stacks, came from that free app. There's got to be $2,000 or $3,000 sitting here in firewood. That's worth it to me. So tomorrow, I'm gonna go get another truckload. I guess it's a truckload. It looks like a truckload in the picture. Be warned, I've said this in the past. I thought this right here from the picture was gonna be 1 truckload. Ended up being 2 truckloads, and these logs are huge. And once you start taking pictures of it, you realize this doesn't look like much, but these logs are huge. But it took 2 truckloads, so that's 2/3 of a cord. So one 14-inch tree is 1/3 of a cord. So it takes 3 14-inch trees, approximately 30 feet tall, to make 1 cord. So this is right on scale to that. I think these are a little bit bigger than 14 inches at the base, but she said it was growing through her porch. I guess it was a decorative tree, so maybe they kept the branches trimmed back quite a bit, I don't know. So today I had an unexpected thing happen. So a guy pulls up on a Harley Davidson, stops on the road, honks his horn, puts the kickstand down, gets off the motorcycle, starts walking down. Well, I come running out and said, may I help you? Because I don't let anybody on my property. Right here you can see the no trespassing sign. I said, can I help you? And he says, hi, how are you doing? Like I know him. I have no idea who this guy is. And I walk up and I said, hey, can you stay there? Because like I said, I don't want anybody to get hurt on my property because I don't have insurance. That's by design. I don't need insurance. When you got a tiny house, it only costs $5,000. If it burns down, I can replace it. There's just no reason to spend $1 million on insurance so I can replace a $5,000 house. And if I just keep people off the property, if they come on the property without permission, then they're trespassing and they're responsible for their own injuries anyways. So he stops up there and he says, yeah, I'm the guy that sold you the property. He says, I haven't been here since you bought it, and I just wanted to say it really looks nice. He just wouldn't stop about how nice it looked. And so we talked for a minute. He got a phone call, and some guy he knows stopped and talked to him for a second. So I'm just kind of standing there waiting for him to get done. But he acted like he wanted to really explore the place. So finally, after I realized he wasn't going to leave until he got to see the place, I said, if you won't sue me, if you get hurt, I'll take you on a tour of the place, show you what I've got done. Because he asked different questions about, I don't know, somehow or another, solar panels came up in the conversation. And so he wanted to see the solar panels and different things. Of course, that's way down there. So I took him on a tour. Yeah, and he was just completely impressed with the firewood, loved the tiny house. Now, that's the thing. He says he loves it. I'm always embarrassed by the tiny house. Not that I don't love the tiny house. I absolutely do love the tiny house. But I really struggle with the idea that anybody else would like it. Do they say they love the tiny house to be polite and really think it's stupid? Or do they really love the tiny house? And I'm under the impression that most people probably don't like it. They think it's dumb. Why would you build a tiny house? You know, that kind of thing. But I mean, he even said on the phone, when he was on the phone, he says, yeah, I'm down at the property I sold that last year, and he's got a nice little homestead going on here. So maybe he really did like it. There was no reason for him to say anything to whoever he was talking to. And then we walked down to solar panels. He liked the chickens, thought it was a really neat idea that we used the tents to cover them. So he looked at solar panels and garden and the whole thing, and it just was completely impressed. And I was thinking, you know, I know pride is a bad idea. You're not supposed to have pride. It's one of the 7 deadly sins. And so I tried to avoid all those things. I actually think hypocrisy is the 11th commandment. I really think the hypocrisy should be the 11th commandment. But I try not to be a hypocrite. And so here I feel like I'm being a hypocrite because I try not to express pride. But it does feel good when somebody comes by who owned the property before you and really is impressed with what you've done. And you try to think, well, maybe he's just being polite. I don't know. How could he possibly be impressed with this? We haven't really done much. The place was a disaster. And if you go to my homepage on my YouTube channel, you can see a video that I made the first day we were here. And it was a complete disaster. Just recently, I did a kind of a side-by-side comparison of the way it looked like and the way it is now. And it's really hard to be objective because I still see so much work that needs to be done. You know, I got that mess over there I need to clean up. I still got to get the root cellar done. So you got to get all this cleaned up over here. There's a building has fallen down right here, and the camper, I want to get it cleaned up. And it doesn't make things any easier when you have so many trolls that come in and tell you how terrible the place looks. So you kind of get this mindset, yeah, I do need, he's right, I got to get that cleaned up. I mean, there's this one guy who still complains about the toilet laying in the front yard, because when we were tearing down the old trailer here, there was a toilet in there, and so I just threw it to the side. Now, to me, it was a deconstruction process. I was deconstructing everything, and I just didn't know where to take the porcelain toilet, how to get it thrown away. You know, I don't have a dumpster, and I kept thinking, well, one of these days I'll get a dumpster. But we ended up being able to burn everything, and everything worked out. So there was a toilet laying there. Well, I mean, eventually I did get rid of the toilet. But there is one guy who's still upset about the toilet laying in the front yard. All the work that we've put into the place, and here's the thing that I think is so amazing about that, is it doesn't feel like there was a lot of work put into it. I don't feel like I work that hard. I don't feel like I come home tired every night. And so what I've done is I spend about 3 to 4 hours a day doing something to the property, whether it's cutting firewood or building a tiny house. I don't think I spent more than 4 hours a day on a tiny house. There might have been 1 or 2 days where I was kind of locked into a project where I had to really focus in on the project. And here we are, 1.5 years roughly into this property, and it's quite livable. The person who sold it to us seems to be thoroughly impressed by it. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is not to show off my pride, because like I said, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Being a hypocrite is a terrible thing. And I don't see enough people in the world who actually agree with me. They know what the word means. They understand that they are, but they don't seem to care. You know, do what I say, not what I do. So for me to express any type of pride in what I've accomplished is very difficult for me. And so please understand, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. What I'm trying to do is encourage you to believe in yourself. To say, look, I don't have to work that hard at it. I can do a little bit here and there. And when I run into a problem, I can get on YouTube, I can look up the problem. You can clean up your property little pieces at a time. And I don't know. I mean, I realize that I'm skeptical of people. I don't always believe what they're telling me. And so today I'm struggling with the idea that this guy actually likes our property. Feels like it's nice, but he took the time to stop. He took the time to walk the property, and it was pretty obvious he didn't want to leave until he's got to see it all. So I hope I can inspire you to work at your own pace so you can develop your dream. Thanks for watching.